Hi there! In today's video, I'm going to show you how to scrape leads from Google Maps for free in just a few minutes. We're going to turn Google results into a clean CSV file. This way, you save tons of time not having to manually search keywords and entering them into Excel. Whether you're a digital marketer looking to generate leads or a solo developer who wants to use the latest publicly available data for your app, you're going to want to keep watching. My name is Catherine, and I'm a developer advocate here at SerpApi, where you can safely scrape data with only a few lines of code. Our APIs handle the headaches of changing layouts, proxies, and captcha solving so you can focus on growing your business. One simple call to our Google Maps API will turn Google search results into a simple JSON object. Before we get started, I do want to mention that this tutorial assumes you have some basic JavaScript knowledge, but if you don't, no worries. Check out this video, which will give you the same result, but involves absolutely no code. All right, let's get started. What we're going to do today is scrape the contact info, addresses, and ratings for coffee shops in your area. Obviously, this can be anything you want, whether your target market is plumbers, lawyers, etc. But today, for this example, we'll focus on coffee shops. So the first thing you're going to do is create a free account on serpapi.com. Next, download and install Node if you haven't already. Node is a way to run JavaScript code outside the browser. And once that's done, create a new folder where you're going to keep your project files. Now, open your terminal, navigate to that newly created folder, and run npm init-y to create a new Node project. To make our lives a little easier, we're going to install a couple of packages. The first one I'm sure you've heard of, but it's the .env package, which is going to allow us to access environment variables easily. And then the second one is our SerpApi library, and that's going to allow us to make API calls even simpler. And once that's done, open your project folder in your editor of choice and create an env file. This is where you're going to store the API key that you get with your free account. All you need to do is go to your dashboard, copy over your private key, and paste it into your env file. Before we can actually use the libraries, we're going to have to import them at the top of our file. And of course, we need to get access to our API key by loading the environment variables. And making that API call to scrape data is pretty straightforward by using get.json from our SerpApi library. By the way, you can also simply copy the code snippet from our public playground, and I will link that in the description below. As you can see here, we're going to pass in an object that's going to define the parameters with which we want to call the API. The engine that we're going to use is Google Maps, since we're looking for business contact info near a geographic location. And the query that we're going to use is, coincidentally, also coffee. We could also use coffee shop, cafes, but let's just stick with coffee for now. I almost forgot, we do need to pass in another required parameter, and that's the parameter type. So there's two options for type. You can either pass in search, which is going to give you a list of places. And you can also pass in place, which will give you the details of a specific location. But since we want a list of places, we're going to use search. Next, we need to pass in the longitude and latitude of the location that we want to search. There's obviously many ways to get the latitude and longitude, but one easy method is to simply go to Google Maps and search for the place that you want to look around, and just right-click on that location, copy over the latitude and longitude, and paste it right in. And you'll see here at the end 14Z, and that is the zoom level. It's exactly what it sounds like. It defines how zoomed in the map is going to be. And for the most relevant results for local businesses, we're going to stick with 14, which looks something like this. And the zoom level ranges from 3 to 21. And of course, we need to pass in our super secret API key. By the way, if you want information on all of the available parameters, definitely check out our API documentation, which I'm going to link in the description below. Now, before we go any further, let's just run this and see what we get from the API. Okay, awesome. So it looks like we have a JSON object with essentially all the information that you would get from a normal Google Maps search. You have the name of the coffee shop, as well as their ratings, reviews, open hours, address, and their phone number if they choose to list it. Now that we've got all this data, let's export it into a CSV file. And to do this, I'm going to use a couple of built-in Node modules. FS to help me write to a file, and path so that I can get file directories easier. Now this optional callback function specifies what we want to do with the data once we've received it. So right now we are simply console logging the JSON, but since we want to write to a CSV file, we're gonna remove this and do that right now. For the sake of time, I've copied over a generic, oversimplified version of a write to CSV function for demonstration purposes, but feel free to implement your own with more error handling or lean on ChatGPT for this portion. Essentially, I am expecting data to be an array of rows, and I'm going to loop through that array, turn it into a string, which I'll eventually output into a CSV file called output.csv. First, I'll create an array called data to hold the data from the JSON. Next, I'm going to add to the data an array of column headers. If we look through the JSON, it looks like the array of business information is stored in the property local results, so we're going to loop through that. And now all we need to do is call the write to CSV function. Okay, let's run this and see what we get. Awesome, so now we've got a CSV file with data that you can sort, filter, and manipulate in under 5 minutes. By the way, I'm going to upload all of this code into a public GitHub repository, which I'm going to link in the description. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below or email us at contact@serpapi.com and I'll get back to you right away.